The confrontations between these two, I guess, both to Tony Trabert and to John Newcomb, and certainly to me, have been some of the classic matches in the history of tennis.
Well, I agree with that, Pat. They have a natural rivalry, and both of them are trying to prove they're number one. Which one is number one?
Ladies and gentlemen,
it has been a very interesting rivalry.
Now,
different personalities, certainly different style of play. I'm looking forward to this one.
I'm sure we all are.
Thank you very much.
On the left.
Thank you.
Connors on the right. Borg with those thumb problems that John Newcomb told you about a minute ago.
Ladies and gentlemen,
he is not the kind of guy to alibi. He had to pull out of this championship last year because of an injury.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon today. We thought he might have to do that again.
Mr. Connors won the toss.
The shoulder is not the problem. It's the right thumb.
Now serving, Mr. Bjorn Borg.
You heard the umpire Frank Hammond say that Connors won the toss, elected to receive. His hope naturally is to get a quick service break before Borg is completely warmed up. If not, he will be more warmed up when he serves his first service game.
Up 15. Love 30.
I think that's one of the telling points is going to be in this match. How many good first serves Bjorn Borg can get in. He got a lot in at Wimbledon, and it made the difference, a big difference. It'll be interesting to see if Jimmy changes his strategy to what he did at Wimbledon. At Wimbledon, he tried to go through Borg. I don't think he can do that. He's going to have to move the ball around, change the pace a lot.
And Borg will have to change his, too, because this is not grass. Little short balls with the underspin will sit up. They won't stay down like they do on grass. 30 all. And break point for Connors.
14.
Well out.
A little bit of nervousness there, I think, on the part of Jimmy, early match nerves, because that's not the type of shot he should miss. He was at three-quarter court. He was set up to make the pass. And that is definitely early match nerves.
Advantage, Borg.
When does that disappear?
That usually takes a couple of games. There's a lot riding on this match, more so for Jimmy probably than Bjorn. What you're going to see Jimmy doing throughout this match, trying to get that short ball set up so that he can get to the net.
Second in this game.
Advantage, Connors.
direction.
How about those forehand drives, Tony, from Borg? Weren't they deep?
Yeah.
There's not many times you see Connors forced back into the baseline in a defensive position in a rally.
Another break point for Connors.
Advantage, Connors.
Nuke, another thing I think we'll see is that Connors will be able to return serve better on this kind of a surface than on grass because it's a truer bounce.
Yes, he much prefers returning serve here than on grass.
For the third time, it is break point.
Advantage, Connors.
Leonard Bergelin with the chairman of the board of CBS, William S. Paling. Bergelin, of course, is Borg's coach, advisor.
And Borg again successfully defends against break point.
We're scheduled to be on the air until 9 o'clock. This continues maybe later.
Advantage, Borg.
Well, it looks like Connors has made up his mind, Tony, that he wants to live on the net during this match, and he's going to get in there at every possible opportunity. Which I think isn't a bad play for him, because I don't think he can beat Connors from the baseline. Beat Borg from the baseline.
Ball, double ball.
That's his third in this game. Obviously, this is the first game,
Connors.
but it's been a long one.
And that's a lot.
It's a lot for him in a match.
Again, break point for Connors. Borg has the advantage.
Advantage, Borg. Outgame Borg.
And now Borg has the first game. But after a struggle, which included 3 faults, he leads 1 game to love. 3 double faults. Tony Trabert, our Davis Cup captain, and a man who won this championship twice, like Tony did, John Newcomb. Any pattern develop you see in the first game?
Yeah, I think interesting. You know, Connors is going to attack, which for his chances, I hope that he does attack. But it's unforced errors is the name of the game, and that's what Bjorn doesn't make any of them.
Trabe, what do you think?
Thank you
Well,
very
Jimmy
much.
looked like he's going to jump on Borg's second serve whenever he could, try to hit it for winners. And, of course, Connors is going to attack. Borg is the counter puncher, but Borg followed his serve into the net a couple times, too. So, as at Wimbledon, he's going to try to attack from time to time himself as we go back down onto the court.
Tony, the 3 double faults that Borg had in that first game, would that indicate to you that something is wrong with his thumb more seriously than we perhaps think?
I don't think so, Pat. I think it's just a question of nerves, a little carelessness, and a slow start, which Borg has done more than once in this tournament.
How bad his thumb is, we're not going to know until we get about an hour, hour and a half into the match. See if the injection starts to wear off and some pain comes through.
It's love 15. See the tape on Borg's right thumb, and it looks like it is heavily taped. Oftentimes, Pat, you start out with something that's a little sore, like that little tender, and as you play, it warms up, you warm up, and it may not bother him at all.
Or make it worse.
That is always a possibility, of course. Look at part of that again, and you'll see Connors on the attack, moving Borg around. Borg tries to go cross court. He's hopelessly out of position. So all Connors had to do was block it into the open court. And we're back live. It is 30-all. Connors serving at love 1, the first set of this men's finals, U.S. Open Championships. Short approach shot by Borg.
40-30.
Pat, I think we'll see throughout this match that when either player does attack, if they don't get that approach shot deep, they are going to pay the price, because both players have a tremendous ability to hit passing shots.
Now are 1-all.
Pat, I might just explain quickly that fact of Connors making more unforced errors. Viewers will be able to see that Connors is a flat hitter of the ball, so the ball has to travel lower to the net, a couple of inches over the net, in order to stay in the court. Borg hits topspin from both sides, and therefore the ball can go higher over the net and still remain in bounds. So that's why he makes fewer unforced errors.
He's serving at 1-all.
Borg also isn't trying to hit winners all the time. Oftentimes he's just sort of keeping the ball in play, trying to wait for an opening. perfect topspin lob for a winner by Jimmy Connors.
15 all.
Yeah, and that was a pretty good approach shot from Borg. Right down the middle of the court on Connors' forehand. He's probably his weaker side. And Borg had good net position.
Short approach shot by Connors. It took Borg 2 swings to get it past him. That's incredible when you think about it. The last time Borg lost a match was on the 3rd of March. Service ace by Borg, and he leads 40-15. That was down in Miami, a Grand Prix tournament down there, and he lost to Tom Gullickson in the final, 6-2, 6-4.
Last time he lost to Connors was at Madison Square Garden last January. Beat him twice since then. And Borg with a great stretch finds the open court, and he leads over Connors 2-1 in this final.
Borg leading.
Connors getting ready to serve to Borg. Jimmy be serving at 1-2. First set.
Take another look.
15.
Short approach, barely past the service line. Medium volley, and bingo, passed. Back live. Connors serving at 15 love, and it's 1-2 in the first set. This, of course, the best of 5 sets.
Be the general pattern if they do get into long rallies. On the average, Jimmy will be the first one to make the error the longer the rally goes on from the baseline. That's why Connors, it's very important for him to get to the net as quickly as possible.
Look.
30-15.
Connors on the attack. Still a short approach, but it stayed lower. And there, a good touch forehand volley placed very well. So Connors is serving at 30-15. Note, you know, Jimmy had 2 short balls to come in on and didn't. Finally did come in on the 3rd one. He's been hitting that sliding backhand volley across court well all tournament, hasn't he? He has.
I think it's one shot that he's improved a lot over the last 12 months. Backhand cross-court volley.
He's coming in more, so he's getting to use it more. Pat, everybody says who's number one. There are different people that do the rankings, etc. But the International Tennis Federation has picked a panel of former great players, and they will decide and announce for the International Tennis Federation who they think is the world's champion. Connors on the attack. That's a let court that goes deep. And the successful smash. Connors has the advantage. That panel consists of Don Budge, Lou Hode, and Fred Perry. Some people that would seem to be pretty qualified.
Pretty good panel. I saw Don Budge earlier
2-all
in the crowd.
First set.
Hode we saw yesterday. And Fred Perry has a selection of seats right down below us. So the panel is getting a first-hand look.
They try to take into consideration the entire record with emphasis on the big tournaments, Davis Cup, the WCT finals, and not just total points won. There you see the success that Borg has had.
How much commentary do you need about tennis like that?
Not too much. Little. Shots were speaking for themselves. The advantage of that top spin. Wrist hung back and he just held the ball until Jimmy moved one way and then put it down the line. He really holds the ball well, Borg, doesn't he? Waits for his opponent to move. Early preparation.
His second service ace.
15.
They have had over 300,000 spectators here this year at the U.S. Open, over 290,000 paid.
Over 19,000 watching this.
Good hands by Borg. Watch part of that again. Now watch when Borg makes this lob. Not a good one. Connors just nails it. Although Borg is out of the picture, he jumped up and got it back. And then Connors is there to place into the open court. Break point for Connors.
You got it.
And Jimmy Connors has broken serve for the first time. He leads 3-2 in the first set of this 5-set championship match.
3-2. Connors leading. First set.
crowd still settling. Connors, coming off the service break, will serve. In the near court, Borg at the far end. Connors leads 3-2 in this first set.
See how the offensive lob can be used effectively over the backhand side. So Borg wasn't able to do anything with it. He hit it short. Connors able to get over the ball to make the passing shot. Back live at 15 love.
And that last approach shot, Tony, that Borg hit is one that he has been using very effectively against Connors this year. That slice two-handed approach shot, bouncing half court to Connors' forehand.
But it's going to come up a little higher on this court, Nukes, and on grass.
That's right.
Might not be as effective.
From Connors.
Games are 4-2. Connors leading.
Speaking of strong events, how about this? The Cup next week on CBS on the Sports Spectacular.
Okay.
Affirmed, Aladar, and Seattle Slew. It'll be live. Service ace number 3 from Borg.
15 love.
It's overcast now, Pat, and I think in a way that's better because the transition from daylight to darkness will be made easier for the players. Of course, the lights are on.
Just barely long.
Way to play it.
I thought he was going to snatch that, Tony.
I did too. When you hit that floater at Borg, most of the time he will step around, hit the forehand, because then if he sees you coming, he can get more pace on it. That was good.
14-15.
That's got to give you confidence.
That's what he really likes to do best, is that two-hander.
40-30.
Coil and unleash.
That was a home run that stayed in bounds.
And he didn't have to run it out.
40-30.
Game Borg. New ball play.
The tennis so far is absolutely superb. Borg leads Connors. Connors leads Borg, I should say. 4-3 first set.
If this were your home, that delivery man could sue you for everything you've got. And if most of your liability coverage was on your car instead of your home...
To serve
with new balls.
And Connors leading 4-3 in the first set.
Out. 15 love.
In case you joined us late, Chris Evert won the women's singles over Pam Shriver 7-5, 6-4. And it was a tough fight.
Love. Love.
That not only hit the top of the net, but it just rolled right down the other side.
That's about the first net cord I've seen go over this week that didn't need to jump up in the air. And the first one that actually sneaked over.
Right.
Okay.
That's when you get the feeling that things are rolling with you.
They just climbed over.
Out. 15 love.
We talked about Gerolitis and how well he gets around the court and how fast he is. These two guys do it pretty well too.
I always like to add what they do when they get to the ball, because some players can get to it but don't make very good shots.
Well, you've seen the records of these.
Another let cord favors Connors. We'll take another look and we'll see that Borg was outguessed.
All.
He's there to make the volley, and instead, the little luck, the ball hits the net and jumps over Borg's racket. So it is 15-all, 3-5 first set. Last point. The underspin backhand approach was short, and the one-hander cross court with a lot of topspin by Connors for a winner. 15-30.
That would be Borg's fourth double fault.
And it's double set point for Connors.
Out. 13-14.
Borg has served well. A lot of times Connors really has to stretch and struggle on the return, but then he gets himself right back in the point.
Both sides men agree. It's out. Both of them. It's a late call. That's all, Jimmy.
Frank Hammond is the umpire now. There is Frank, who just gave those opinions to Jimmy.
You can say something.
Advantage.
Connor said, I don't mind if you call it out, but call it. Don't wait until after the point is over. So it's advantage Borg.
Deuce.
Darn good volley by Borg that time.
Advantage Borg.
It really was. I thought Jimmy would have done more with his backhand, but I think he's a little disappointed with himself too.
To come out of LaGuardia. Borg guns his fourth service ace down the center line. 5-4 Connors. Tonight, you are watching the first set of the men's finals between Jimmy Connors on the left and Bjorn Borg on the right. Pat Summerall was Tony Trabert and John Newcomb.
And Connors serving for the first set.
That's the forehand down the middle of the court that Jimmy tries to hit down the line, and he turns his body before he actually strikes the ball. Racket face, that forces the racket face to come off the ball. Point from Borg, the way Connors was in good net position, and he came up with a great dink to force Jimmy back to the baseline. Very smart play.
It was. Jimmy started to attack it. He thought he could get it before it bounced, but realized it was going to be too low. So he backed off wisely. And then I thought did a good job just to keep it in play up the line. 15 all. Part of that last point. Looks like Connors is in the driver's seat. It was not a deep approach, but Borg was way out of position and able to hit that two-hander up the line, and Connors couldn't handle it.
What a shot from Borg, though, Tony. He was at full stretch, and his body weight was going against the flow with the direction he wanted to hit.
And off the two-hander, too, which you don't have the good reach. So it is 15-30.
This is quite a big point. He was looking for that short approach shot to the forehand, but I think he's not sure whether he wants to get it short or deep at the moment. That's why he was a little tentative.
Connor's obviously taken plenty of time. Set point for Connors.
14-13.
That forehand approach.
Yeah, it looked like it's going to go about 10 feet long.
Deuce.
The crowd started to ooh because they thought it was the end of the set, but all that topspin actually brought it down 3 or 4 feet inside the baseline.
By the time the ball hit the ground, it looked like a...
The things you really can't, that ball stretches out of shape with that tremendous topspin from a guy like Borg.
Set point for Connors.
Advantage, Connors.
So Connors captures the first set. It's, of course, the best 3 out of 5 final, 3 out of 5 set final. Connors wins the first set 6-4. Borg to serve quickly.
Yeah, that was quickly.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
15-11.
His 5th ace.
How'd you know he's going to serve that quickly?
I've seen him before. Quickly again.
13-11.
Just barely missed with that one.
Take another look. Borg on the attack. Just an average volley. And for some reason, Borg elected not to smash. So we come back live. Borg serving 40 love. First serve was at fault.
And just as quickly as he served. CBS, Chicago at Detroit, Philadelphia, New Orleans, San Francisco against Houston. Tampa Bay against Washington, Minnesota rather, and Washington at St. Louis, and then the doubleheader game, Dallas against the Rams in Los Angeles. Connors serving in the second set of love 1.
Tony, what do you think of that first set?
15 love.
I thought that both guys were playing pretty good form, and there wasn't much in it. Jimmy came up with just a little extra.
Right, Jimmy played his usual aggressive style, and Borg can't track down as many balls because it's a little faster bounce.
Jimmy usually starts off pretty well, though, doesn't he? I mean, he comes out of the gate just jumping at everything.
He's a fast starter. Sometimes Borg, particularly this tournament, has gotten off to a slow start in several of his matches. Of course, you wonder whether Connors can keep swinging the ball as hard as he does and not start making more mistakes. You know Borg's going to keep it in play.
I'd say what Borg has to do is raise his game about 5 to 7%, and that's what he did in the first game of this set anyway.
It's 15-30 in the second game. As many times as we've seen Connors trade, he can keep swinging at it pretty hard for a long time.
No question about that. I'm just saying that when you swing that hard all the time, as Nuke mentioned, doesn't always have a lot of clearance or safety over the net. You might start making some errors.
What a lob.
Third ball.
Forget that Borg, at whom you're looking right now, is in quest of the Grand Slam of tennis, which has only been done 3 times before. Twice by Laver, once by Don Budge.
The officials down in Australia, I know, are probably anxious for Borg to win this, because then he would have to go to Australia in order to win the Australian Championships at the end of December to win the Grand Slam.
That's the 4th leg. This year, the U.S. Open is the 3rd.
Game Connors.
First 2 being French and Wimbledon.
1-all. Second set.
1-all second set.
Good return off a good serve. Good deep approach. Not a lot of pace on the ball, so Connors had to make the pace. That underspin backhand volley that normally has paid off was just eaten up by Connors on the run. We come back live, and it is love 30. And now triple break point for Connors.
Would be hard to say which one of those last 2 from Connors was a better shot.
Hit that winner and ran across the other side to return the next point.
double break point. Wide. Jimmy Connors has broken serve. He takes a 2-1 lead in the second set. He has won the first set 6 games to 4.
GAF and the big surprise.
That's me when Harry gave me a big surprise. You see, weeks ago, we looked at Gaff Star sheet vinyl floors, and there was a pattern I really wanted. Well, while I was visiting my sister for a few days, he bought it and had it put down. Harry, the Gaff Star sheet vinyl floor I wanted. Oh, the beautiful floor with the shiny no-wax finish that's almost carefree.
And it lasts and lasts.
Oh, like us, Harry. Like us. Oh.
Next Saturday on the CBS Sports Spectacular, beginning at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, The Cup, featuring Aladar, Bjorn,
take your seats, please.
and Seattle Slew,
Thank you so
Triple
much.
Crown winners.
Appreciate your cooperation.
That'll be live next week.
Thank you.
From Belmont Park.
That should be some race. We've got some race right here.
Thoroughbreds.
It appeared that Connor's approach shot hit right on the sideline.
Connors looks very confident at this stage. He's hitting those shots, attacking, winning the point, and almost running back to serve the next ball.
Yeah, his tempo is very high.
He has good momentum, but I think he also realizes it could be a long night ahead of him.
Very confident in his dressing room when I talked to him before the match began. In fact, Borg said after yesterday's match, that's what separates these two perhaps from the rest of the players. They are more confident.
They're also better.
Yeah, I guess that's another factor.
13-15.
Well, that shot that Jimmy just missed was probably one of the very few unforced errors that he's played in this match so far.
He won the first set 6-4. He leads 2-1 and is serving in the second set.
Last year Connors played in 21 tournaments, won 8. Was runner-up 7 times. Borg played in 20 tournaments and won 12. Good return by Borg.
14-13.
Connors won 70 matches and lost 11. Borg 78 and lost 7. Not too bad. No. 40-30.
Game, Connors. Game is at 3-1. Connors leading Second set.
Tony, I was going to say before that one thing I think Connors is doing better than I've seen him do for a while is he's getting a lot more first serves in. A little more weight behind them than he has for some time.
And he seems to be wanting to come to the net more. Sometimes he'll stay back and just bash the ball, but he is seeking every opportunity to get into the net.
I see Borg is being just a little confused at this stage about his game plan because he was attacking in the first set and he didn't win quite as many points as he thought he would off that particular tactic. Now he's not sure what to do. So much pressure being put on him by Connors.
Just out.
15 all.
Nuki told me after the match yesterday, after the match with John McEnroe, that he felt that the one thing he was doing better is just what you said, serving better. Those of you who've been watching Los Angeles defeat the Atlanta Falcons 10-0, welcome to our broadcast of the 1978 United States Open. Connors won the first set. That's Jimmy Connors, of course, 6-4. He leads 3-1 in the second.
He'll show you how tough it is to win a point in this league. Depth.
30 all.
Dead run. Bingo. Right up the sideline. And it's 30 all.
You can't hit 6 or 7 shots better than that.
Point for Connors.
40.
Tony, I know you've said so many times how important sound is, the sound of the ball hitting the racket for a tennis player. Would it be that important against a guy like Borg when you know you're getting topspin almost every time?
Well, it can be because he brushes a lot of balls, but he also drives some with that topspin.
The one. It's due.
And didn't he need a big serve then? 3-1 down and 30-40. 4-1 and 2 breaks. He'd be almost down 2 sets to love.
Double fault. That's number 6 for Borg.
He's pressing a little bit there, Pat, on his second serve because Connors is standing in and really ripping the return. So that's why he's serving those double faults. We remarked last weekend, Tony, when Borg was in trouble in one particular game in a match, he hit 3 winners in a row on the line.
Advantage Borg.
Chrissy Everett is women's champion, 7.564 over Pam Shriver. Just out.
7.564. Everett over Pam Shriver. That's the women's singles finals. Chris Everett once again is the champion.
You've got to have good hands to be a ball boy.
Caught that piece of paper right out of the air.
It was going away from it, too. Connor's shot, it appears, hit right on the line. Borg took a look at the linesman. Sure. Said nothing, and now Frank Hammond says to him, "Are you sure?" It's deuce, so he must be. A few whistles here and there. Whoops. Racket came right out of Borg's hand.
Now that could very well be the thumb and the tape on the thumb, where he's not able to squeeze as much as he normally would.
In the event you might have not heard the announcement earlier in the day, Borg at one time, there was a report circulating here that Borg would default, would not play. But he's played, and he certainly played well.
Just laughing at his emotion, lack of emotion. It's incredible, isn't it?
That must have been a decoy.
It's such an important point. The racket falls out of his hand, and he never doesn't smile, doesn't cry, doesn't do anything. I mean, he just picks up the racket and wins the next point.
Borg's shot appeared to hit right on the baseline. Connors looked at the linesman. Tough job to call lines, particularly players of this caliber who hit it hard and hit it deep so frequently.
And Borg, after the racket slipped out of his hand, to 4. He leads 3-2 in the second. He'll be serving from the far end. Pat Summerall with Tony Traber.
Appreciate it very much.
Will be leaving for Chile tonight to conduct the captaincy of the Davis Cup team next weekend. And John Newcomb.
I get seated behind my board. Thank you.
Crowd waiting to settle, and Connor's waiting for that to happen.
Pat, I think there was a good example of sound, what we talked about, because Connors couldn't tell that Borg mishit that overhead. He took a full swing at it, didn't really get a good solid piece of it, and Jimmy got out in front because he thought the ball was coming faster. That's not meant to be an excuse for Connors, but I think is a point about sound or lack of same.
Last 5 minutes, Borg has picked up his game, that 5 to 10% we're talking about.
13.
Jimmy's game may have fallen off about 5%.
Borg doesn't waste any effort, does he?
Tony, you get the feeling these next few games are sort of critical for the match. It's
well, if Jimmy can hold on this service break and, you know, get up 2 sets to love, he picks up ahead of steam. Wide.
30 all.
How do you count either one of these guys out? Lead or no lead?
The answer is you don't.
Take another look.
40.
Borg's
13.
approach lands short. Connors got over it with a two-hander. As we come back live, Connors serving 40-30, trying to stretch his lead in the second set to 4 games to 2.
Game Connors, new ball played.
Frank Hammond calling for new balls. Connors
Game
leads
4-2.
4-2. Second set.
Connors leading. Second set.
I feel that was a very important game for Connors then. Down love 30.
Thank you.
You know, Pat is just sitting here thinking about Borg at age 22. Has won Wimbledon the last 3 years. He plays with such poise. We'll have another look. Borg, watch him help this one over with a little jump. Connors gets to it,
15.
makes a very good shot. He did about all he could do with it, but Borg was quick enough to get over and block the volley into the open court. 30-15.
That racket is strung so tightly. That volley sounded like he hit the bottom of the frying pan.
Wide.
40-30.
That wasn't that bad a second serve either.
No, but he's been going into that two-handed side a lot. And it seems as though maybe Jimmy's looking for it a little bit. You still have to be able to make the shots.
Jumped on another one.
And it's break point for Connors.
Advantage, Connors.
And that time he jumped on it with the one-hander.
playing some tough points when he's down break point, isn't he? Last game and this game.
That's right, and he smart. He comes in, puts some instant pressure on, made a good volley.
That's Borg. Score is deuce.
Good shot.
Advantage, Borg.
A lot of pressure on Bjorn now to make that first serve. Every time he misses it, Jimmy's all over the second. Took the pace off that one a little bit, Tony. Made sure he got it in.
Connors thought the serve was out.
Strange shot.
Yeah, it seems as though the wind has picked up a little bit on the court. You see the backdrops being blown around a little bit more. Another break point for Connors.
Advantage, Connors.
I don't want to take anything away from anything that's happening down there, but I think Bjorn's thumb is starting to hurt him. Just watching his face very closely.
Connors 5-2 now in the second set after he won the first set 6 games to 4. The Jets by 1 over Buffalo, 21-20. Houston 20, Kansas City 17, Green Bay 28-17 over New Orleans. Packers still unbeaten. Pittsburgh 21-10 over Seattle. And a baseball final score, the Yankees 7, Boston 4. They are in a flat-footed tie now for first place. Here it's Connors 6-4 in the first set, 5-2 in the second, and serving.
Good shot by Borg.
Up 15.
John Newcomb and Tony Trabert were talking during that last break about their opinion of whether or not Borg's thumb is bothering him now. Nuke, I think you were very much in agreement that it is.
It just started to, I think, yeah. Especially it seems to be on the forehand side.
30-15.
He has a blister, or is it an infection?
He got a blister. It got infected overnight, and it's all inflamed and red all down the thumb. I saw it before the match.
And Tony, you were saying something about as soon as the point is over.
Well, yeah, Borg tries to get that racket out of that right hand as soon as he can. He'll serve a fault and sort of he ends up with a racket in his left hand. And that, I think we should make it clear that we're not trying to make excuses for Borg.
Absolutely
we're certainly not trying to take anything away from the tremendous play of Connors. I think it's just fair to point out that that might be a problem for Borg. What a great get. Take another look. I think
40,
Borg may have hit a ball that was going out right here. It's climbing, but Borg thought he'd just block it in the open court.
Thank you very much.
As we come back live at set point for Connors. 40-35, 2-second set. Connors has won the first set, 6 games to 4.
Well, whatever Borg's feeling, he's certainly come around this game, and he's hitting the ball harder and deeper than he has probably at any time during the match. And that's something if he can hit it harder than he has been.
Again, set point for Connors.
Advantage, Connors.
Set to serve. Connors up 2 sets to love. This is the culmination of some 28 hours and more of tennis coverage from CBS Sports. The racket came out of Borg's hand.
Second service.
An airplane came by, as I was saying. This appears to be a culmination of what's been at least 28 hours of coverage of United States Open tennis. It doesn't seem like it's been that long, does it?
It really doesn't. I always enjoy it.
15 love.
First 2 sets of this men's final between Borg and Connors took about an hour and 40 minutes. The women's final won by Chris Evert, 7-5, 6-4 over Pam Shriver. In straight sets, but by no means easy.
That little Pam brought tears to my eyes when she talked at the presentation ceremony. She was so sweet, so nice.
Little Pam, you say?
That's age-wise, so she's 6 feet tall. That racket's coming out of Borg's hand when he's trying to serve hard as a result of the thumb problem. He'll have to start spinning it, not taking as big a swing at it.
Which he did right then.
Oh, that serve looked good then.
Game 4.
Yep, changed the call.
And Connors did not argue in any fashion. He agreed with the umpire, Frank Hammond. So Borg wins the first game, third set, after Connors won the first two. U.S. Open Championship.
This is Rodeo, an American dance classic, danced by the Joffrey Ballet Company. This is also Rodeo, recorded with a system called Labanotation. IBM's Labanotation typing element, for the first time, provides typewritten dance scripts. Labanotation is only one of 265 interchangeable IBM typing elements. A medical researcher can type in the language of chemistry or change to a computer language. A businessman can communicate in Greek or a doctor in Japanese. People in all kinds of work can communicate in 31 different languages. From this simple typing element to advanced computers, IBM has been working hard to bring information technology to more people at lower cost, helping people do their jobs more productively and more creatively. IBM, helping put information to work for people.
The growth in the number of tennis players in this country in the past decade has been remarkable. The United States Tennis Association supports this growth through its thousands of volunteers and by providing funds and technical advice, as well as providing tournaments for players on all levels. For more information, please write USTA, 51 East 42nd Street, Suite 1001, New York, New York, 10017.
Old friend of Tony Trabert's right there.
Leonard Berglund.
Here we go.
Former Davis Cup
Thank
for
you.
Sweden. Nice guy, obviously concerned. He's stoic. He's sort of like Borg. He sit there. You don't see much expression from him either. Has to be very concerned for Borg at this stage.
Just to bring you up to date, Connors won the first set 6-4, the second 6-2. Borg held serve. First game, third set. It's a best 3 out of 5. Connors serving now. Pat Summerall with Tony Trabert and John Newcomb.
Oh. 15 all.
Under the lights now. All traces of dusk or daylight are gone. Amazing how quiet 19,000 people can be.
Wide.
30-15.
Good crisp volley, but just barely missed over the sideline. It seems to me that Borg is going after his shots a little bit more now. He's in a little bit more of a slugging contest with Connors, and it may be necessary because the court is fast enough that Connors' pace on his shots is starting to hurt Borg. So he's going to try to hit more depth and more pace if he can.
Barely.
40-30. 1-all, third set.
The rest of the football scores we didn't have a chance to give you a minute ago. The Redskins over Philadelphia 35-30. Cleveland beat Cincinnati 13-10. New England 16-6 over St. Louis. Connors 2 sets to love over Borg at the moment. They're in the third set where games are at 1-all. That's love 15.
15-all.
Other scores, and these are finals. Chicago 16, San Francisco 13, Miami 42, Baltimore nothing. Oakland 21-20 over San Diego. Troubles in Baltimore.
15.
Well, without Burt Jones and the loss of Lydell Mitchell, got to make it a tough year for them.
All
troubles
in this stadium.
And Nook, you know, excuse me, I just said, it looks like Borg is just has lost his concentration. You know, he's just making a lot of errors off of shots that he normally doesn't miss.
Well, the longer the rallies go on, he has to keep gripping the racket tightly. And if he has to hit 7, 8, or 10 balls with a a slightly sore thumb, it's going to hurt more and more as that particular rally goes on. So he's trying to make them short rallies now if he can.
Break point for Connors.
Game to Connors. On the service break, he now leads 2 games to 1 in the third set of this best 3 out of 5 match.
Connors leading third set.
4-6-2 Connors in the first 2 sets. Coming off a service break, he's leading 2 games to 1 in the third.
Very good pace on those shots by Borg.
Love 15.
One thing, Tony, I don't understand. If his thumb is starting to hurt him, then he is allowed to have an injection. We found that out. And if I was him, I'd get one into me straight away.
You don't wait too long.
It's not a bad low backhand volley.
Connors waited and we waited.
That was some backhand volley he made. Borg drilled that return at his feet. You want to see a young man that is eager, watch Jimmy Connors. Leaps out for that forehand volley. Borg made no real effort to come back out of the backhand corner. Come back live, it's 30-15.
Get the feeling he senses the championship.
Smells
right now.
blood.
Game's at 3-1. Connors leading third set. Okay, here we go. One more game for the change. Thank you. That's great.
Frank Hammond, the umpire, does some job. of controlling a crowd, which can be very difficult in a situation like this.
Just a clean winner off the forehand.
How deep those shots are.
15 all.
Crowd warming to the occasion.
There we go.
They're trying to warm Borg to the occasion. That's what they're trying to do.
Smash was out.
Super get from Connors to get that lob back in play.
And he got it pretty deep. $15-30. And double break point for Connors.
15-14.
Give Connors 2 service break lead in this third set. Connors has won the first 2 sets 6-4 and 6-2.
Borg said after he had played his first match on this surface that it was made for Connors.
Out game, Connors.
Game to Connors. He won the first 2 sets, 6-4 and 6-2. He now leads 4-1 in the third.
Games are 4-1. Connors leading. Third set.
And on the threshold of
Players appreciate you.
keeping that even number year streak intact. He won in 1974 the U.S. Open Championship. He won again in 76. This is 78.
Borg appears to be very dispirited right now.
Those visions of Grand Slam, very shaky.
30-11.
Borg won the Italian Championship, the French Championship, Wimbledon. Won it 3 years in a row. Only the second time that's been done. There are cases, Nuke, when Connors will stall,
Please.
waiting to serve.
Thanks,
But now he can't wait to get on with it.
He likes to take his time, you know, to set himself and sometimes to unsettle the receiver.
Out.
14-15.
Have a look at Borg right now. You can't tell what the score is, can you? He could be up by the same margin and look exactly the same. Crisp forehand by Borg. Started out to be an approach shot, ended up being a winner.
Connors has served no aces, no double faults, but he served well.
Sure has. Been getting a high percentage of first serves in, and they've been nice and deep.
Borg turned his back and
Games are 5-1.
took his
Connors leading.
head a little bit about
Third
the most
set.
emotional thing we've seen him do so far.
Okay. Thank you.
Borg will serve.
Great. Thank you very much.
Good shot. Take another look and you'll see that a passing shot hits the top of the net. Connors reacts well enough to get it back, but couldn't do anything with it. Was caught in close. And the perfect offensive lob by Borg as we come back live. First serves a fault. Borg serving at 1-5 in the third set. His back is absolutely to the wall.
It was interesting watching Connors' face at the end of the last game. He's up 6-4, 6-2, 5-1. I mean, it looks obvious he's going to win, and yet he was jumping up and down, pumping himself up, raising his fists in the air. He really wants this bad.
That's service ace number 7
13-15
from Borg.
Good, deep, hard return by Connors off of a very good serve. It's now 30-all.
They will again begin those discussions about who is the #1 player in the world if this continues as it appears it's going to.
Outgame Borg. New ball played.
We'll be back with more of our coverage of the United States Open Tennis Championships after this word from your local station.
They're reporters for a news program, a mixed...
Connors just indicated to Borg that he is serving with new balls and
Thank
right
you
now
so much.
serving for the match. 5-2 third set.
Up 15.
At least up to this point, Borg has not been able to break Connors' serve. Connors has broken Borg 5 times in the match. Let's just watch it and enjoy it.
Love 13. Thank you.
And we come back live. It is love 30. Borg trying desperately to break serve. Stay alive in this match.
14-13.
Good net anticipation then, Tony.
Yeah, you could very much look for a forehand cross court in that situation.
Yeah.
Connors picked it up the line. It's 30-all. Connors 2 points from 1978 U.S. Open Championship. Lots of Grand Prix points go with it, too. Point for Jimmy Connors.
Please, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.